Thank you, Foster. Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Good. Who are you? By the way, this is going to be interactive, if you haven't guessed by now. How's that sound? Good. So that question, who am I? Very, very, very relevant to this month's theme, which is awakening our spiritual magnificence. So when we say awakening our spiritual magnificence, whose spiritual magnificence? Who is that? Difficult question, isn't it? In Eastern philosophies, there's a practice called koans, which is asking deep inquiries. And what I'd like to share with you in this presentation is a practice of going through about 12 deep questions. I already gave you a preview of one of the questions that Robert sang a beautiful song on. And what I'd like to do is have an interactive, open session to awaken our spiritual magnificence. Who's up for that?
All right.
Okay, put your hands up if you're up for it. Put all three of them up. Okay. Okay, who doesn't want to, if you don't want to wake up your spiritual magnificence, put your hands up. Good. By the way, if you don't want to raise your hand, put your hand up, let me know. Okay, so let's start with a story. Once upon a time, there was a spiritual seeker that said, yes, I want to awaken my spiritual magnificence. And I want to find out how I can do that. And he heard about a famous teacher that lived very, very remotely in a cave. And he said, oh, I'm going to get on my horse and travel as far as I need to go to reach this spiritual teacher to find out, how do I awaken this spiritual magnificence? How do I do that? And he travels for days on his horse, and then for weeks, and then months, and then years. And he's traveling and traveling and traveling for many years, and then even decades to say, how do I do this? By the way, does that sound familiar to anybody? Decades. How do I awaken this spiritual magnificence? And he's traveling on his horse, and he's just ready to give up. Just ready to give up. And then at that moment, he's at one of the deepest valleys, and he sees the cave, and he sees the spiritual teacher. And he's, oh my gosh, this is the spiritual teacher I've been looking for. And he gets off his horse, and he goes to the teacher, and he says, oh my gosh, I've waited for years and even decades to ask you this question. How do I awaken my spiritual magnificence? And the teacher pauses and looks at him and says, don't worry about your spiritual magnificence. Awaken your horse. See where your horse is. And the person says, the traveler says, my horse is awake. Look, my horse is right here. My horse is awake. What are you talking about? I've spent decades to try to get to see you. And you say, awaken my horse. Look at my horse. And the teacher smiles and goes back into his cave. And the traveler realizes what? There's nothing to awaken. I'm already awake. The horse is already awake. I am already awake. God is everywhere. We say God is everywhere. One of the passages from the Science of Mind this week is that God is everywhere and inside as well as outside. Is God inside of us? All of us. So how can we not be awake? Are we awake? Let me hear it. Are we awake? Yeah, we're awake. Good. So to further our awakening, even though we're already awake, I'd like to ask you some questions. So first question. Is it possible to deeply listen? To listen beyond opinions, beyond judgments? Is it possible to listen deeper than the sound of this bell? Deeper than all of our thoughts and feelings. Now, this is interactive, so I'm actually asking you, is it possible? Yeah. So it is. It is possible.
Not necessarily easy.
Is it easier not to listen?
You're always listening, I think. Within our mind, it's just chattering away. We try to quiet that down, but I don't know that I can get beyond words.
Yeah. So it's possible.
But it doesn't last very.
So notice that. Foster's saying, but it's hard. But it doesn't last very long. Is it possible to listening without any buts?
Yes.
Wonderful. When we listen deeply, without opinions and judgments, where do we listen from? In our body. Yeah. Our hearts. So what I'd like you to do again is listen deeply. Awaken our spiritual magnificence. And listen deeply. Breathe into your heart. Is it possible to listen deeply from our hearts? So do this. Listen deeply from your hearts. Why not? Listen deeply from your hearts. And I have another question. It's the same question that Robert just asked. At this level of listening, who are you? Who are you? Who are we at this deep consciousness? Who are we? Part of the whole. Beautiful. Part of the whole. Unique expressions of the divine. Beautiful. I'd like to read a passage from Science of the Mind that says, while we are not the whole of God, God is certainly the whole of what we are. Now, I'd like to challenge you to go further and tell me, beyond thoughts and concepts. So even this sentence I read is a concept, is it not? part of the divine that's still a concept. I'd like to challenge you further and say, who are you beyond thoughts and concepts? Who are you? Love. Love. And yet love is still a thought and concept. This is a trick question. So anything we say is a thought or a concept. It's a trick question, except the answers you gave were beautiful and brilliant. And science of the mind gives these beautiful, brilliant questions. But when we take the quantum field, this infinite field, the God within us, and we take this and we put it into words, all of a sudden, we're taking infinite possibilities and limiting it. What about, I don't know who I am? How many possibilities are there? That's one possible answer. But even anything we put into thoughts is limiting. So Lao Tzu said, those who talk do not know, and those who know do not talk. So ask me who I am. I am not knowing. Not knowing. That's why I'm talking. It's a paradox. It's a paradox. Words cannot express the infiniteness of who we are, can it? And yet, I'm asking you to talk with me, and we're all talking. So how can we express who we are? Who are we? So there's another way to express it, to express this. Would you agree that it's important to express who we are? Awesome. Then I'd like to ask you a different way who you are. A different way. Without words. Without words. Without words. Who are you? Yes! Beautiful. Would you mind standing up? Everyone. Can you put on? Stand up. Can you demonstrate one more time? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Embody who you are. It's important that we embody who we are. We are already awake. We are already the God within us. Move your arms, move your bodies. Embody who it is that you are. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Yes. Yes. Listen godlike realm. One word comes to us to describe this magnificence. What is that one word? One word comes here. Vibration. Vibration. So, after we embody who we are, we give this a name. Do you have a name for this?
For me, it's passion.
Passion. Vibration. Nice to meet you, vibration. Nice to meet you, passion. So after we embody who we are, what is your new name? Passion. How are you?
Passion. I am fun.
Vibration. How are you? Who are you? Vibration. Okay, why do we do that? There's an old story about a Zen monk. If you like, you can sit. There's an old story about a Zen monk called Basho. And he wakes up each morning. And when he wakes up, the first thing he does is he goes down from his balcony. And he runs down and he goes. And he's on top of his balcony first, and he says, "Hey, Basho! Who are you? Are you here?" Then he runs down from his balcony, and he says, "Yes! I am here! Good morning! What do you want?" He goes back up to his balcony, runs up. He says, "I'd like to know who you really are." Then he runs back down. "I am vibration. I am passion. I am God." He runs back up. "Is that really so?" He runs back down. "Yes!" And he calls his name. And when you call your name, you're realizing or actualizing who it is that we are already. Now, this is a trick my Zen master played on me quite a number of years ago, where he said, "Okay, Len, you're ready to get your Dharma name. Dharma, the nature of things. You're ready to get your Dharma name. And this is the name that you'll go by. But I'm going to give this name to your daughter first." And he was over my house sitting outside the balcony, and he says, "There's a condition on this name." And my little daughter, she's 22 now, she was very young at the time, she said, "Wait a minute, you're giving me my dad's name for his practice in Zen?" And he said, "Yes, but there's one condition." And she says, "What's the condition?" And my Zen teacher said, "The condition is that when you say his name, he has to be that name. He has to be passion. He has to be vibration." My name was Kensho. Kensho in Japanese means a moment of enlightenment. So my daughter, who's young at the time, says, wait a minute. You mean that when I say Kensho, my dad, if he's stressed, if he's forgotten who he is, he has to remember who he is, and he has to be Kensho? That's the deal?" He says, "Yeah, that's the deal." My daughter says, "Yeah, I'm in for that." "I'm in for that. Wow, that's great." By the way, she still does that. "Kensho! Kensho!" "No, not now, I'm stressed." "Kensho!" "Oh, yes, that's right, that's who I am. Remember who you are." Does anybody else have a name that they came up with when we did that exercise?
Light.
Light. Hey, Light. Thank you. Light. Beautiful. Light. Wonderful to meet you, Light. Anybody else have a name?
Peaceful.
Peaceful. Hey, Peaceful. How are you? Great. Ah. Anybody else?
Joy!
Joy! Hey, Joy! Love you, Joy. Awesome. Anybody else?
Freedom.
Freedom. Hey, freedom.
We're freedom. We're the freedom system.
Awesome. Now, I invite you to say your name and be your name. Say your name and be your name. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Kensho! You want to try again? Let's say this was the last moment that we had in the universe. Which, by the way, it is from some standards. You got your name? Say your name. Embrace. Be who it is you are. 1, 2, 3. Kensho! So this is a very powerful tool to say who we are. And by the way, the motion itself is very powerful. Why is this important? When life happens, and we're wrapped up in life, if we move our body a certain way and be who we are, we awaken our spiritual magnificence. Ask me who I am.
Who are you?
I'm Len. Ask me again who I am.
Who are you?
Kensho. It's different. So you can do that as a tool. It's a very, very effective tool. I've practiced it for years. So have many masters. Now, let me ask you, who are you? Wonderful. What are you like as joy, as passion, as light, as peaceful? What are you like here? Tell me, what do you like here?
Fire.
Fire. What else?
Expansive.
Expansive. How expansive? Infinitely expansive. What do you like? Passionate. How passionate? Infinitely passionate. Infinitely expansive. Infinitely joyous. What else? What do you like here? Love. How much? Infinite. Are there boundaries here? Is there time here? Timeless. Is there space here? Beyond time, beyond space. This is who you are? This is what you're telling me? To infinity and beyond. So you're saying, now be careful, there's a loophole here. You're saying this is who you are. So if this is who we are, then we go back to being unconscious. Are we living out of integrity? But you don't mind, because let's be in integrity now, right? This is who we are. This is who we are. Embody who it is that we are. Give it a name. I have a question. Does this come and go?
Our expression of it
According to our awareness, it comes and goes. Thank you. Thank you. Listen deeply. Good. Good insight. You hear what she said? She just, oh. Yes. Does this come and go? can God come and go? How can this come and go? How can who we are come and go?
It doesn't.
Thank you.
Our awareness of it comes and goes.
Yes. Yes. Our awareness of it comes and goes. So, next question. How do we bring... Oh, actually, our next question. Is it real? Is this real? How do you know that what I'm telling you now is just not total baloney? How do you know it's real? Remember who you are. How do you know?
I think I feel it.
Yes. In Zen and in Buddhism, we say, do not trust any teachers. Do not trust any teachings. Trust your experience. You know things at a deepest level, at experiential level. Now, it doesn't mean don't listen to teachers. You can listen to teachers, you can listen to teachings, but to really know something, you know it from experience. There's 3 levels of knowings. One is intellectual knowing. Oh, how do we know if this is a good restaurant? I've heard it's a good restaurant. Intellectually. Second level of knowing. Actually, I'm sorry. First level knowing is just faith. Someone told me it's a good restaurant. That's faith. Intellectual, I go to the restaurant and I start eating, and I'm looking around and people are enjoying the food. That's beyond faith. I have some facts, but I still haven't tasted any food. Third level of knowing, I taste the food. This is good food. I know it from an experiential viewpoint. So how do we know that this is real? Have you experienced something? That's what this talk is about. This is about experiencing. Experiencing what is already true. I'm not sharing anything with you that you don't already know. Yes, but what level do we know this at? This is experiential. So is this real? It's real. Is it real? How do we bring this into our lives then? How do we actually awaken our spiritual magnificence? This is the vision for science of the mind, for religious science across the globe. Awaken our spiritual magnificence. How do we do this? We listen. Yes, we listen.
We allow it. We can't make it happen. We have to allow it.
We allow this to happen. We allow this to happen. What else? We be it. Thank you. We be it. So we have a pathway right now at this moment, which is all that exists. This is all that exists, right? We have a choice right now. Take the red pill or take the blue pill. Be with reality or go back to sleep. Which pill are you going to take? Right now. Bless you. Yes, that pill.
Reality or truth?
Reality or truth? How about awakenness or asleep? To be awake to our spiritual magnificence or to go asleep. Which are you going to choose right now? So it's a matter of choice. So- what's that?
Be awake.
Be awake. So how do we do this? We choose. Who chooses? I choose. Which I?
Big eye.
The big I, passion. Do you choose this?
I choose it.
Yes.
I command it. I exert it. I initiate it.
Look at, she does, doesn't she? Do you? Do you? So it's so simple. It's so simple, yet all we have to do is choose. So simple. However, life comes along and gives us challenges. And we have difficulties. So something happens. Something happened this past week in your life, right? Or this past month, or this past year. That was not so easy. Right? A problem. And we say, there's some issue, or there's some... Do you all have some issue, something you're trying to make better? Good. We say, okay, good, let's choose it. Let's change our thoughts and feelings and actions. Let's change our thoughts and feelings and actions to a different thought, a different feeling, a different action. Does that make sense? Except it doesn't work. Have you noticed? It doesn't work. Oh yeah, I came to this talk and they said, oh yes, let's choose a different thought, feeling, and action. Why doesn't it not work? Have you noticed it doesn't work? Why doesn't it work?
It's external. We're changing the external circumstance or trying to.
Yes, changing the external.
And the real change has to happen in here.
Yes, the real change has to happen in here. And also, we're trying to change this to this. And what Albert Einstein said was no problem can be solved at the same level of consciousness that created it. So we have some reaction that happens. And then we say, okay, there's a reaction, I'm stressed. Let me have a new thought, feeling, or action. And it doesn't work because we're at the same level of consciousness. So I cannot change my thoughts, feelings, and actions from here to here. What I can do is I can go from here to here. I must access and be who I truly am.
Kensho.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, I'm here. What is it?
That's who you need to remember you are when you're lost in a problem.
Exactly. I remember. Thank you. Yes. Who are you?
Love.
Love. Hey, love.
Hello.
Hi. Exactly. So, when we're lost in a problem, what are you going to do?
Brought back down to who you are.
Yes. Call.
I am the passion, but I don't need to be the fire starter.
Yes. Together, co-create. Remember who you are. Remember. Remember who you are. That is what is essential. That's all that's essential. And then we let God and we let Spirit evolve and act. And that's what the passages from Science of the Mind worldwide are this week, is allowing and co-creating with God to allow this to unfold. However, we must remember who we are. Otherwise, we're asleep. So what happens? There's a reaction. There's something that happened this week. So think about what happened this week. Something happened. right? When this happened, was there some reaction that you had? There's usually three types of reactions. One is the energy goes out, one is the energy goes in, or one is I look away. Energy going out, that is like anger. Energy coming in, that's like shame. Energy looking away, that's like disassociation. Many ways to say this. Violence going out, silence going in. Fight, flight, or freeze. Reaction, unconscious. So we're operating from the ego. What's really happening in the reaction is that there's some feeling going on. The most prominent feelings, fear and sadness. And then underneath the feeling is what? Caring, love. This is what's happening. Oh, I didn't like this person. I sent out negative thoughts to this person. I don't like this person. There's a feeling. Can you feel the fear or sadness? Underneath that, can you feel the love and the caring? I wouldn't even have the feeling if I didn't care. Except we're operating from the cart to the horse. We're saying, let's operate from reaction and then feelings and then care. Let's do the opposite. Let's operate from caring and then take a conscious action. So when this happens, it looks like all these roads going on. And what's needed is what? Exactly. Who are you? Love. Hey, love. So first thing, love. Now, it's not only enough to just call love. We must act. We must have a call to action. Now, what we can do is actually rehearse any difficult situation and have a call to action. So take a difficult situation, someone that you maybe have difficulties with, a problem that you have difficulties with. And rehearse now and say, hey, who are you? Who are you, love? Love, good. And with this difficulty, what is one appropriate thing to do? Respond as love. And what's one specific action? Breathe, smile, kiss the floor, kiss the person, send out love. What's one specific action? As love. Care. I care about this person and I will send out heart energy to this person. Good. If you're in the state, if you're in the consciousness of this who we are, you'll know the appropriate thing to do. How could we not if God is really within? So ask yourself, what's the appropriate thing even before it happens? And operate from this place of who we are. Any challenges, it's simple. We choose who we are. Call it with a name. Call it with your body. Choose this. Choose it. Choose who I already am. And even in advance, say, what am I going to do? My response a lot of times, program response, we call this an emotional koan, an emotional deep question to say, hey, my response, call Kensho. And then take a breath. Take a breath. For other situations, it might be smile. Oh, I can't smile. It's too stressful. Of course we could smile. Take some action. Do you each have some action that you can take when you fall out of remembering who you are. That's my call to action for you. To say, hey, when I fall out of this, think about one thing I can do. So let's remember who we are. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you and be who I am with who you are. And to light, I say namaste, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you.